Welcome to Conversations with Miss Marcy, the podcast where we get real about relationships, culture, and the truth that shapes us. No fluff, no filters, just bold conversations that matter. Now let's dive in. Hey, what's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Miss Marcy. I am Miss Marcy. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for stopping through. I really do appreciate you and all that you do. I so appreciate my listeners every day, all day. I love how y'all send me emails and you guys just, let me know that you are listening and everything. And I really do appreciate that. So also be sure to share this podcast with your mama and them, your friends and them, your honey and them, your baby father and them. Because we are on every streaming platform. Okay. Y'all remember that. We are on every streaming platform. And to my Apple listeners, don't forget to leave a comment and things like that because, yeah, I just love it. All right, y'all. So, a couple things to get into today. Happy belated Father's Day. I know that was, last week sometime. And it was like, I can't remember the weather being nice on Father's Day. I don't know. Why do it seem like Father's Day is not celebrated like Mother's Day? And it sounds messed up, but I heard like some guys at work, they were talking about that. And then it just seemed like Father's Day is just not made a big deal of. It's not. I mean, I know at my job they had like a little gift basket for the men and stuff, and I thought that was nice because for Mother's Day they did the same thing. So I thought that was really nice. But yeah, it just seemed like fathers aren't celebrated like moms are. And don't get me wrong, like there are some like deadbeat fathers out there, but there are also some really good dads out there who do deserve to be celebrated. But it's just unfortunate that they're not. And it just seems like more than anything, I don't know, it's like this thing about when it comes to parenting or when it comes to like both parents or whatever, the mom and the dad, it just seems like, yeah, mothers just always get the red carpet rolled out for them and fathers really don't. I wonder if it's because the mother actually pushes the baby out, like carries the baby and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that has to be the explanation. Like mothers are just held in higher regard than fathers a lot of times. And it just seems a little unfair, especially like I said, for the fathers who are great fathers who do show up for their children. Because let's just keep it real. There are not some good mommies out there. They're not. There's not always good mother figures out there. It seemed like it just seemed like because women have the children, like I said, because they bear the child, it just seems like people don't like to admit or acknowledge the fact that sometimes, yeah, some mothers aren't good mothers. I'm just being honest. But so yeah, that's just an observation. It just seems like Father's Day is not really a big deal like Mother's Day seems to be. So yeah, I guess that's what it is though. And it's been like that for years. I mean, I don't know why anything would change now, but it's just been like that for years. And it seemed like a lot of men feel like their children don't really call them unless they need or want something or they need money or something like that. And it's just like, why do people do the fathers like that? Yeah. But hey, it is what it is. I don't know. So, also happy Juneteenth. We celebrated Juneteenth about a week ago, and I had a pretty good Juneteenth weekend. I went to a couple of festivities. We had like I mean, it's like a lot of things was going on that weekend. It seemed like there was a lot of festivals and stuff like that. And I went to a festival. It was really nice It was here at Mamie Moore Park, and it was really cool. And I like the fact that the weather wasn't so bad. It wasn't too hot, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like, I mean, obviously it wasn't cold, but it definitely wasn't too hot. I don't like being really hot. And to be honest with you, I really don't like the summer. I really don't like the summer weather. I don't like being hot. And the older I get, the worse I feel about it. I don't like feeling like I'm hot, sweaty, can't breathe, humid. It's humid. I don't care how much water I drink. I don't care. I don't like to be out in it. I don't like to be out in it. You go on the festivals and shit, you walking around and It's just hot and miserable. Make you feel like you want to go take another damn shower. I remember about some years ago, me and my cousin went to Cincinnati to see Janet Jackson. Okay. And I remember it was so fucking hot that day. I'm talking about it was that nasty hot to where I don't care how fresh you left your house, you left that damn festival musty. Everybody did. It was just hot. I don't like that. I just don't like that. I don't. So yeah, so the weather was really good and everything. And it was cool. It was cool. But it was over at like 5 or something like that. So it didn't go a long time like it normally does. I wonder what that was about. So Juneteenth, that's pretty much a new holiday for us, even though they actually Juneteenth had been celebrated way back in 1980. It was the first basically it Texas was the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday in 1980. So for people who don't know what Juneteenth is, because I know some people be like, "What's Juneteenth? What is Juneteenth?" Because honestly, we've only been celebrating it here in Ohio for a couple of probably about. I think I remember 2012 was when I first kind of heard about it and knew about it and celebrated it and stuff like that. But before that, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know what it was. It commemorates June 19th of 1865, which was the day the enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas, were finally informed of their freedom. So basically, this monumental news came over 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was officially signed. That was signed on January 1st of 1863. But it could not be enforced in Confederate controlled areas without a military presence. So, because Texas was largely isolated from major Civil War fighting, enslaved fled there to continue the practice of slavery. So yeah, so on June 19th, 1865, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and he issued the General Order Number 3, announcing that all enslaved people were free. So yeah, that's crazy. I would have been so pissed. Can you imagine that? All these years, after all the years of slavery, and then they're finally free, and then 2 years later, you find out y'all still was working as slaves and shit. Like, oh, but so now it became a national holiday around. I think it was like 2021. Yeah, about June 2021. It it was signed into federal law as a national holiday, and which I'm glad about that. So it's also called Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, Freedom Day, and Emancipation Day. So I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad that it is a holiday. It's a national holiday. I mean, it's not a holiday that we get off from work or anything like that, but it's still a national holiday, which is cool. And so that makes me wonder. Like, I know me and my cousin were talking about this. Like, she was saying that she didn't really want to celebrate the 4th of July anymore, and she just wanted to focus on Juneteenth. And so I don't know. We so used to celebrating the 4th. I've been celebrating the 4th since I was a kid, and it's like we like to look forward to the fireworks and things like that, and just the whole cookout of it all. So I don't know. It's just crazy how we used to doing certain things, and then as we get older, we find out the true meaning behind things. Like it's like Christmas. I think if a lot of us really acknowledged and accepted the true meaning behind Christmas. I don't know if I want to say it like that, but if we really knew the history about Christmas and everything, I think a lot of people would not celebrate it anymore. Christmas is not even my favorite holiday because I don't really care for the fact that people be stressed out and things like that. Don't get me wrong, I respect the fact that it's the birth of Jesus Christ. I respect that. I'm just saying what people have turned it into is a money making holiday, and it's like people be stressing out about it, just going through it. My favorite holiday is actually Thanksgiving because I like the whole gathering of family, friends, and good food, and just a good time. It's without the pressure of gifts and all that crazy stuff, and how much money you got to spend and all that crazy stuff. So yeah, I like Thanksgiving. And plus, my birthday is always around Thanksgiving. So now I don't particularly like when my birthday falls on Thanksgiving. I do not like sharing my birthday with the holiday. I don't. But I do like that time of year. I really do. So yeah. So I went for my eye doctor visit last week, and oh my gosh, y'all. Because, okay, so first of all, I am very nearsighted. So for anybody who knows me, people who know me from like, when I was a child and stuff like that, they know that I'm very nearsighted and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you can't help but you notice from my glasses, okay? So I went to the eye doctor because like I said, I go every year, but I didn't realize that I had not been in like 3 years. I hadn't been since 2023. And I'm like, damn. So I go and I went basically like last month. So they gave me a new pair of contact lenses and stuff like that. But it felt like I couldn't see out of them. And I'm like, what the fuck? I can't even see out of them. So I took those out and I put in some older contact, not older, but they were new. They hadn't been worn yet though, but it was a previous prescription. So I put those in. So I called my eye doctor and I said, the contacts y'all put me in, I couldn't see. And they were like, well, we kind of tweaked the power in the right eye. And I'm like, why would they do that? So what I didn't know was over the years, they had been overcorrecting my vision. So there's a such thing as adding too much power. And at the time, you think the doctors think that they're doing the right thing by, adding more power. But honestly, like my eye doctor was explaining to me recently, she was saying that, your brain get used to what your eyes are seeing. Your brain gets used to that. And so you can actually be being overcorrected by having too much power. So that's why when you take off your glasses and contacts, it feels like you are more blind and you feel like you can't see worse than what you couldn't see before you started wearing them or whatever. It just feels like, so they explained that to me. So they're trying to take power out of it. So, but for me, it's making me feel like I can't see because again, my eyes have been so used to the power that I had in it all these years. So because I put back on the old prescription, the eye doctor said, you know what, we're gonna have to start all the way over from zero. You gotta come back in, do a whole nother eye exam, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my gosh. So when I went in, I got my eyes dilated. Oh my gosh. You know how they put the drops in your eyes and then they take this light to look at the back of your eye. And then they also took a picture of my eye. They had me look into this machine where it's made a bright as, it took a picture of the back of my eye. So, and I did a little poof thingy where, how you sit there and then, they getting a reading of your prescription when they do that. And they're checking your pressure of your eye and they do that poof. It's like a puff. So I did, it was an extensive, thorough eye exam. And I needed it, because like I said, I hadn't been in 3 years and I usually go every year. So when you're a very nearsighted person, it's very important that you do go to the eye doctor because they always want to monitor for retinal detachment and things like that. Because when you're nearsighted, you are prone to retinal detachments and stuff because of the way that I think it's your the way that your cornea is shaped or something like that. Something is shaped like a football. I know that's how they explained it. So yeah, so I went through that whole process, and the good news is she told me everything looked good. She looked at the back of my eye and she said, for you to be as nearsighted as you are, the back of your eye looks damn healthy. It looks really good. And I was so glad to hear that because, like I said, because I am so nearsighted, sometimes I do be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to, you just don't want your eyes to get worse, and especially as I'm getting older and I'm like, because I know that tends to happen as we get older, it seems like your vision changes and things like that. So it's like, that is not what I would want. It's so funny though. Speaking of, wearing glasses and stuff, I know when I was a kid, it was like I said, my prescription is pretty strong. So therefore my contacts and glasses they're always expensive. So I just remember being a kid and, wearing glasses and stuff. Of course you got teased as a kid. And plus kids are just fucking mean. I mean, they're just fucking mean as hell. And it's like, I never thought that I would ever just like wear my glasses in public or even around other people. But now as an adult, as a in my big age, I don't give a fuck. I'll be like, yeah, I need to see. And a lot of times when people don't know is, when you wear contacts, your eyes are not breathing. That was another thing. They don't want you wearing contacts too much. That's why when people wear contacts, they usually have a backup pair like of glasses or whatever. Like I have my glasses on now, actually. So yeah, when I'm at home, I usually like to wear them. But and speaking of which, I'm going to call my insurance and see if they'll pay for the glasses instead of the contacts because they don't pay for both. They'll pay for one or the other. And I have them pay for my contacts because that's what I wear primarily. But I think I'm going to have them change it because my glasses are too fucking expensive. For real. Like, honey, shout out to the girlies who can't see, y'all, because damn, I understand. Shit. We got to do what we got to do. But yeah, I'm going to see if my eye doctor will pay. I'm going to see if the insurance will pay for the glasses instead of the contacts because I don't want to pay that shit. No, I'd rather pay for the contacts. It'll be cheaper. So yeah, y'all. But anyway, so yeah, I did that last week and everything, and it went well, like I said, because I was really kind of nervous at first. I'm like, damn, they got to do all this shit. I'm like, oh my gosh, but it was cool. It was cool, and I just, I don't know, like this is gonna usher me into my mental health check in. Okay, let me get into that. So, mental health check in. I am feeling pretty thankful. I decided to, focus more on gratitude. And like I said, with going to the doctor and everything, and then, you have your concerns at first, and then when you find out everything is okay, it's like, you know what? It's just like it makes you think of the side of the fence where you say, you know what? I just want to focus on the blessings and not the problems. And don't get me wrong, we all have things we want and desire, and we feel like we have goals we trying to get to. But it's like, the things that really, really matter are the things that we do take for granted sometimes. And it's like those are the things I'm trying to get back to focusing on. So I don't know, just when I went to the eye doctor, because I was so nervous at first, y'all. I just was because I hadn't been in a while. And then when she, when she sat there and she told me everything looked good, I was just so relieved. So I don't know, but it just made me think about that. So that is where I'm at, and the mental headspace I'm in. I'm just in a place where I just want to focus on the gratitude and everything, and I I don't really, I don't really care to entertain certain just certain things, certain things that will cause me to become irritated or things like that because I've been dealing with some people who can be a little challenging to deal with. Oh my goodness. Like I had a conversation with a young man last night and he told me, he said, I noticed you haven't been reaching out to me. And I said, well, hell, I be giving you your space. I've been giving you your space, because I just don't know which person I'm gonna get. So I just had to give you your space. So and he respected that. He didn't really give me no pushback or nothing, but it's just like, yeah, I don't deal with that too well. I don't like dealing with, wishy-washy people, people who hot and cold. It's just that's just kind of annoying for real, for real. So anyway, y'all, let me tell you what I was catching up on, honey. Okay. I was catching up on The Polygamist on Netflix. Have y'all been watching that? Y'all, this shit crazy. Matter of fact, when I get done here, I think I'm gonna watch it. I did hear that the BET Awards was coming on tonight. I don't know. I might not. Might not check that out. I don't know. I don't be into the award shows like I used to be when I was younger. I mean, like it's hit or miss for me. I might have it on in the background while I'm doing stuff around the house or something like that. But I don't really. I don't know. I just really don't be like in tune to the stuff like I used to be. But anyway, when I get done here, I think I am going to finish watching it or whatever, The Polygamist, because it is good. This one person I know, he was like, I don't see the big deal about that show. Like, I don't see the big deal. He said he watched the first episode and he couldn't get into it. But I don't know. I think it's more entertaining than anything. So I'm not too far. So I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who have not seen it. I'm going to wait till the season is over until I'm done watching all of it, and then I'll come back on here and I'll give like a little review or whatever. Because I'm seeing right now, just through the character development in the first two episodes, I'm already kind of seeing how things are playing out, and I have some points that I do want to talk about that is relatable to real life situations. I want to talk about it, but like I said, I want to wait until the season is over with before I, get into all of that. But it's a pretty good show, man. I'm telling you, them Africans be off the chain. A lot of these shows concerning these shows and these movies with these Africans are really good. Like Young, Famous, and African, that show is really good. That show is really good. Oh my gosh, I like that show. I love it. And oh, the aesthetics on there, oh, it's just so beautiful. You know how we have our reality shows over here, and we see them living in luxury and things like that. Our luxury ain't got shit on theirs. It is just breathtaking. Just the sceneries over there, just the oh my gosh, I love it. I don't know what part of what part of Africa they are filming in on Young Rich and Young Famous. Everybody want to call it Young Rich and African. That I noticed that too, but it's really Young Famous and African. But anyway, so yeah, I was checking that out. I did finish watching Nemesis. Nemesis was really good too. Nemesis was really good. Now I knew that was gonna be good because Courtney Kent was behind it. She's behind that show. So yeah, I knew that was gonna be really good. Yeah, that show really good. I'm waiting on season 2 for that. The ending kind of pissed me off. His son Noah just irritated the fuck out of me, but whatever. So yeah, that was a good. And yeah, so that's what's going on. And speaking of, let me add this too, because I was listening to this album is so good. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all who got a good album out right now. Big Lotto. Oh my gosh. Let me say this. I am I'm not into music like I once was, like when I was a younger girl, like especially when it comes to hip hop. I am more so an old school hip hop head. But I must say, Big Lotto, like these rap girlies, they are really moving the fucking needle. And they've been doing it for some years now. I remember 2023 is when I really kind of noticed it. Like, damn, these girls are coming with the shit. They really are. And I noticed Big Lotto can freestyle too. I like her. I've actually been liking her since I first heard her. I think the first time I really kind of heard her and really paid attention, because I heard she was on a show, I think with Jermaine Dupri, that he had a show. I didn't watch it, so I don't really remember, but I think I've heard that she was on that show and she was a younger girl. And then you could tell she was going to be big just from that show too. But when I first started kind of listening to her, I think it was during COVID, and I was working from home, and I would have like songs playing, and I would have, videos going in the background, listening to music and stuff. And I remember I throw that ass back to see if he gonna catch it. I ain't never let it, but it's tennis for the necklace. And run it up. They busy running their mouth. I'm a real ass, rich ass bitch from the South. And she had Trina on there popping her shit. And she had the other really pretty girl, Saweetie was on there, you know what I mean? And Big Lotto she's always been popping her shit. I like that. I like her. I really, really like her. And I've seen her freestyle. Like I said, I've seen videos of her freestyling. Freestyling is a plus for me. If a rapper can freestyle, that is a plus for me. It's something about being able to spit off the top of the dome like that. I think is so fucking brilliant. Like Meg The Stallion, she's good as fuck at that. I've seen so many videos of her freestyling. I'm like, damn, this bitch is a beast. So yeah, I think it's good to see the rap girlies doing their thing and just doing it. And we don't have just one rapper no more. I remember for a long time it was just Nicki Minaj. It was just Nicki for years. It was Nicki, and I mean, Nicki did her thing. But it was just good to see some new blood coming to the water. The Cardi B's, the like I said, the Lottos, the fucking Meg The Stallions, the Glorilla. Oh, that's my favorite. That's my favorite ratchet right there, Glorilla. Like I like Glorilla. I like her. And Young Miami and JT or whatever. These girls been doing their thing. Let me say this too. Speaking of Young Miami. Honey, I'm so tired of that fucking song. I'm so tired of when I'm my skinny and I do not like that. It just spin that shit. Spin that shit. Oh my gosh. It's annoying. Like, no. I don't know. It just don't have no substance to me. It ain't something that it's just kind of goofy. I think that's what it is. It seemed like a goofy ass song to me. Just like I didn't too much care for what's his name, Big Little Duval song. I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you niggas. Those are goofy to me. I don't like goofy ass songs, and I think that's what it is. They just feel goofy and catchy, for real, for real, for real, for real. So, but I mean, people got to do what they got to do. People got to get their shit on or whatever. So yeah, that's that on that. I wanted to mention that because I was listening to Lotto yesterday, and I was like, "Damn, this motherfucking album is hard." I think it's called Big Mama. Yeah, I got it on my Spotify. I gotta finish listening to it. And Chris Brown dropped a new album too, and I was listening to that as well. Now, and speaking of Chris Brown, so y'all know we getting ready for the concert. They kicked off. I think their first show was in Denver on the 26th or whatever. But yeah, so we going next week. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm looking for. I already got my outfit ready and everything. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. It should be good. But speaking of Chris Brown, so he dropped the album, and this was what me and my coworker was talking about because she going too. I'm thinking like, okay, he done dropped a new album right before the show or whatever, right before the tour. Okay, that's good. That's smart. But don't be doing these new songs on the damn tour because we, the fans and the listeners or whatever, okay, that's fine. You got a new album, but we have not adjusted to the new album yet. We haven't consumed the album yet. We haven't got our feel of the album just yet, So don't be doing those fucking songs on the stage because we can't sing along with those. We want to be able to sing along with the shit. We that's why we like the shit that you already got. We don't want nothing new, not right now. Let us maybe do that on your next tour because by then we be done heard this new album. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. But I just hope he don't do a lot of new songs from the new album. That's all I'm saying. Just don't do it. Don't do that. So I feel like they are gonna have to do something like between Chris Brown and Usher. Everybody know they drive the women crazy. Usher with his when he was doing "There Goes My Baby" when he would do that or whatever, and then Chris Brown with his "Take You Down" when he get the girl on stage and be hunching her like crazy and shit. Let me say this. Let me say this. I'm not a man, whatever, but I'm gonna say this. If I was a man, okay, and my girlfriend got pulled on stage for Chris Brown to hunch on her, like that Kayla Nicole girl, who I think she used to go with the guy that go with Taylor Swift or something like that. Girl, the way he was hunching on her and she was throwing her legs all up, but not even just her, but a lot of girls. I I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll probably be done broke up. You by the time you get off that stage, you'll be a single bitch. And now it's not about being insecure or petty, but it's just like at the same time, I don't know. I just wouldn't like that. I wouldn't want my girl being all into the shit. Like, because I would feel like you would fuck a nigga like that. You would do that shit. Like, you would be so impressed by who this nigga is that you would fuck a nigga. So yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I could see why a fella will get a little tight behind seeing that or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so I feel like on the show during this tour, they're gonna have to freak some chicks out. Like they're gonna have to bring somebody on stage and do something like together, both of them. I think that would be something like I just got a feeling, but we'll see. We'll see. The only thing I'm thinking about as far as being like one of the first stops, because this is like I said, the tour just kicked off. The only thing about being one of the first stops is it's like, are they fully ready or are they still working out some kinks and kinks? Are they still adding to the show? Because by the time it gets to like August, September, they're gonna be, truly fully warmed, in full throttle of the tour. So they might start adding stuff or you know what I mean? So I just don't want to miss nothing cool. I just don't want to miss out on nothing. So yeah, so I came across this old picture of myself too when I went to go see Usher back in was it 2004 when he had the Confessions album out. Oh my gosh. Oh, I was a little thing, child. I think I was like weighing honey still in the 140s, 150s and shit. Child. Ooh wee. Girl, I had on my little pink little I had on some shit I wouldn't wear now. Girl, showing my stomach and stuff. Child, please. Man, so but yeah, and I seen Usher again at his residency back in 2023 when he was in Vegas. So I guess it's safe to say that I'm a fan of Usher's music. I like Usher. So and then the fact that he been out doing his thing since what 1992, 93, like that's just it says a lot about his career and the longevity of it. So much respect to that. People like him. So it's Usher. Excuse me. People like Usher, Brandy, Monica, um, who else? Oh, and the late great Aaliyah. They were at one point the only young people that occupied that space, and they were doing their thing. Excuse me, and they were doing their thing. So it is good to see them still, with the exception of Aaliyah and everything. It's good to see that they're still. And I believe if Aaliyah was still here, she'd be still doing her thing. But it's so good to see them still still relevant and still making good music and still looking good. They still look good. And Brandy, I'm so glad Brandy's been getting her flowers too. Brandy has been killing it. She's been doing her thing. I hope Ray J get himself together though. But I see Brandy is still doing her thing. Brandy is like, I've been seeing a lot of videos of Brandy performing and things like that. And it's just so good to see because Brandy, that girl, like, I don't know why people be trying to like act like Brandy ain't never been that girl. Brandy was and still is that girl. I remember like Brandy had a whole show. Brandy had, oh my gosh, like, Brandy, yeah, Brandy, yeah. Brandy, that girl. But I do remember Brandy going through a hard time where, especially around the time, I remember when she got pregnant and stuff, and then she lied about being married to her daughter's father. That was like back in the day. And I think they did like a little reality show. This was before reality shows were what they are today. But it was like a little reality show where, she was pregnant and everything, and she lied like she was married. So then she called out a backlash for that. Then it was the incident where she had gotten into that car accident and I think a woman was killed or whatever. So then Brandy had a hard, she had a really dark time too during her career. But I think it's safe to say that, she has, risen above all that and everything. And she's doing really, really well. So anyway, all right, moving right along. Now, let's get into today's topic. All right. So as we know, we are in the summer months, and with the summer months comes what? Family gatherings, family cookouts, and other family functions, and just functions, period. Dealing with the outdoors and everything, people getting together. Speaking of which, I'm going to a family cookout, family picnic next month, as a matter of fact. My cousin called me yesterday and asked me if I knew about it. I'm like, yeah, I sure did, girl. I sure do know about it, girl. So anyway, all right, with that being said, with people gathering and coming together and things like that. This is what I want to talk about. If you have a mate, whether it be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, or a wife, if your mates or your partner, your person, whatever you want to call it, if they are not a quote unquote people person and they don't like to engage with people, don't drag their ass to the family function. Let them stay at home. Because here's what I want to say. Just because you are not a people person doesn't mean that you have to be dismissive towards other people or rude. And I say that because I've been in situations where I've been around people who I could just tell. I mean, I just, you just read the body language. They just rude as fuck. They don't talk to nobody. They sitting there, everybody's having a good old funky time playing spades at the spade table, slapping fives, talking shit across the spade table, having fun, dancing, music playing, eating good, all of that. Then you look over and you got this one person. You got, it might be your cousin's girlfriend or your brother's girlfriend or your sister's boyfriend or your female cousin's boyfriend or whatever. And you look over and this motherfucking person just sitting there stone faced, ain't speaking to nobody, don't want nobody talking to him or her, and just looking crazy as fuck, quiet as fuck, like they can't wait to go home. Like they can't wait till their partner come over there and say, hey, I'm ready to go, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's rude. I think that, if you don't want to be in the presence of people, that's fine. That's fine. And don't get me wrong, everybody's not a people person. And that's not the point here. The point here is that even if you are not a people person, you are not a social butterfly, you like to stay to yourself. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. If that is not your thing, that is just not your thing. If dealing with people is not something you enjoy doing, that's okay. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. If it's not your stick, it's not your stick. If it's not your type of carrying on, it's just not your type of carrying on. And that's okay. But what you don't get to do is be rude to other people just because because I feel like it doesn't cost a dime to be gracious. It doesn't hurt you to, if you're sitting in a social setting and just for a couple hours, it doesn't hurt you to be kind to people by, you can smile to people, you can smile at people, hey, how you doing, wave at people. If somebody come and talk to you, you can talk back, you can look people in the face, you ain't gotta look straight ahead while they sitting up here talking to you and they trying to make fucking conversation and you looking the other way because you don't want to be bothered. That's not cool. That's mean as fuck. It really is. And I don't excuse behavior like that because I just don't think it's cool. Because it's like at the end of the day, you were offered the invitation to come. You could have said no. Or like I said, or sometimes maybe I don't know. Maybe sometimes a person come along because they just so jealous of their partner that they want to make sure they come to see what's going on, just to be nosy. They really don't care to be there. They just want to come. And I've seen people like that. I'm telling you, I've seen I've seen people like that. Even though that y'all going around the family or whatever, they that sometimes they want to make sure that it's really your family you going to go see, or they want to make sure ain't nobody there that you used to fuck with. That does not that's not in the family. Might be one of your cousins' friends or one of one of your cousins baby daddies, nephews, or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure it's what it is. And again, so again, I feel like if you don't really want to be there, don't be there. I don't go places I don't want to go. I don't care. I don't care, but I do know how it feels to have a mate drag you somewhere because one of my ex-boyfriends, I remember he had these people that he was cool with and they were cool, but sometimes they got on my fucking nerve that he always wanted to go over there and shit. Like we could be out and about. He'd be like, oh, so-and-so just called. They want us to come through. And then and sometimes I was cool with it, but sometimes I just didn't fucking feel like it. But when we would go, I still was kind to people. I still was nice and polite. So it's like just because and I'm a people person, don't get me wrong. I'm kind of like extroverted and introverted, I guess. Like I more for the most part, I don't mind being around people. I can socialize with people. I can go around and I can kind of work a room a little bit and comfortably. You know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with talking with people. I am, and I don't care what setting I'm in. I am very comfortable. I mean, hell, I do a podcast. I mean, shit, it makes sense. But I am very comfortable talking with people. It doesn't bother me. But I also know how to sit there and be quiet too, because what I do is I read the room before I do anything. I'm gonna read the room. I'm gonna see what type of atmosphere I'm in. Hmm, excuse me, what type of energy is going on. What's the energy in the room? What's the, what's what? So I kind of go off of that. And based on that, that actually predicts how I'm going to proceed. Because if I kind of feel like, I ain't really feeling the energy out like that, but hey, I'm cool, I'm not gonna be rude. Nobody's being rude to me, but at the same time, I'm just like, I might be a little more quiet, a little, just a little bit, be a little quiet or whatever. Like I said, I'll still speak to people who speaking to me, but I might be a little kind of reserved or whatever. But if it's an atmosphere or energy where I'm like, oh, this cool as hell, I'll probably be more interactive and things like that. But my whole point is, I'm not gonna be rude just because, I quote unquote just don't really feel like being bothered or whatever. And so, excuse me. So basically, it's like there's a difference between being reserved and disrespectful, is what I'm saying. There's a difference between being reserved and being disrespectful because you can be the type of person, like I said, that you're not really into people like that. And again, that's okay. But coming around in an environment and you don't even speak to people, you know what I'm saying? You don't speak to nobody. It's just like kind of rude. And being a private person it's a personality trait, but being dismissive is a choice. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you have to understand the difference. And I'm not saying that just because a person is introverted that, oh, they're rude just because they don't want to be bothered. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm basically saying it really is about how you go about doing things. Because if you're going to make the decision to be in a social setting, then you have to understand that I don't want to say the word conform, but you have to kind of conform a little bit, you know. So it's like I said, you don't have to work the room. You don't have to tell jokes or be the life of the party. But like I said, when you accept the invitation to someone else's family gathering or something, there is just a basic level of courtesy that comes with it. I mean, for real. Like like I mentioned before, a smile, eye contact, saying hi, nice to meet you. Girl, have you ever met somebody and they introduce you to a motherfucker and that motherfucking person just looked like, oh, okay. Let me say this. I have been around some functions and I be like, who the fuck raised these motherfuckers? Who raised these people? Who raised you? Who raised you? Because the rudeness, you be like, oh my gosh. And that's also why I don't always accept every invitation that I'm given. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I remember going to this cookout one time. It was a long time ago. And it was from actually a childhood friend of mine. And she invited me. And at the cookout was also a welcome home party for I don't know if it was the brother of the host. I can't remember, but there was a family member who had just come home from prison, from doing a long stint in prison. Okay. So it was a welcome home slash 4th of July, big ass bash gathering, whatever. And when I tell you, these motherfuckers was so fucking ghetto. And don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with ghetto. I don't. Because you could be ghetto acting, but you could still have a level of, like I said, respect and courteousness. These people were so fucking rude. It just got on my nerves. And I'm gonna tell you something else I don't like. I don't like it when if you invite somebody somewhere and you don't introduce them to people. That's crazy. Because if you're inviting somebody to a function, like if I invite my friend to my house or whatever, any type of function, everybody that comes into that room is going to know who this person is. They're going to know this is my friend because I'm going to take the time to stop and introduce everybody to everybody. Because what I don't want is for people to be at my function and be wondering who the fuck each other. Who is she? Who is he? Who is that? Who is that? Who is you? Who's you know what I mean? Because y'all all coming together on account of me. I'm the common denominator between everybody. So yeah, why would I not introduce everybody? But I'm gonna tell you something. There's some rude ass hosts out there. Some people, just because people host don't mean they need to be hosting. There's some rude ass motherfucking hosts out there. They just figure, oh, everybody just figure each other out. That's rude. So anyway, when everybody comes together, you introduce everybody. That's just point blank and period. But anyway, so the function, it was a house full of so many people in the house, in the backyard, and things like that. I just didn't like the energy. I just didn't like the energy. Mm-mm. So yeah, that was a long time ago. But I'm just saying, from there, I just learned like you don't have to go to every fucking invitation you were, invited to, because everybody's level of hospitality is different. Everybody don't feel like just because you over there you a guest. Some people feel like you ain't no guest, so they don't treat you with guest courteousness or hospitality. Shit. But going back to, like I said, when you're in a setting and it's social and you're not a people person, let me say this too, because I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on the introverts. I'm not, because I'm not. I'm not. I don't have anything against the introverted person. Just because I'm more social, that don't mean I'm trying to come down on the non-social people. But it's like this at the end of the day. If your social battery is low, it's okay to stay home. It is. It's okay to stay home. Don't come just to make everybody else uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, when everybody else is having a good time, they want everybody else to be having a good time as well. They gonna look around like, oh, dang, why he sitting over there like that? I done met some people's boyfriends where you be like, mm, 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 mm. I mean, he be sitting there stone faced. Did she introduce you to him? The motherfucker don't even speak. He really mad because she got him at this fucking function because he really don't want to share her with nobody else. Motherfucker probably possessive or whatever, whatever. And he just don't really want to be there. You know, he don't talk to nobody. You know, so I don't think using the excuse, oh, he's not a people person. Let me tell you something. I'm not bringing nobody around that got that type of attitude, that type of energy. Because I'm not about to sit up here and be explaining to my family and my friends, oh, girl, you got to excuse him. He's just not a people person. If he is not a people person and it's that bad, it's a lot of shit we won't be going to together. Because that's the energy buster. That's the energy buster. It is. You draining my fucking energy and you making everybody else around me uncomfortable. And I'm not gonna let you do that. So thankfully though, I haven't been with nobody like that. Ooh, I'm so glad. Ooh. And I be looking at people who do have mates like that. I be like, ooh, honey. uh-uh. Mm-mm. And see, for me, body language says everything. It communicates everything. Like I said, if you just sitting there and you don't want nothing, people asking, you want something to eat? No, thank you. You want something to drink? No, thank you. You know, people trying to talk to you. They trying to say hi to your baby. You sitting there, got your baby sitting in your lap. You holding on to the baby. You looking straight ahead. People trying to, just be friendly. Hey, how you doing? Hey, little so-and-so. Hey. And you just looking straight ahead. You ain't even acknowledging the motherfucker sitting there trying to say hi to you and your baby. Girl, keep your motherfucking ass home. Please, please. Do everybody the courtesy of just stay your ass at home. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, let me add this because like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on the introverts. Now I can see if the people, the family that you're around, they're intrusive, they're rude as fuck. Like that family I just talked about that I went to the function and it was the 4th of July slash homecoming bash. That would have been the type of environment that I could have sat there and been antisocial than a motherfucker, and nobody would have noticed because they wouldn't have gave a fuck no way because they were just rude. And I mean they were just that they were just a different type of people. They were just like so. But I'm saying unless it's a situation like that where the family is just uncouth as fuck and they are intrusive and they're just all out of bounds and out of whack, then I could see you not wanting to be bothered with nobody. That's understandable. But if these are people who are showing you nothing but kindness, respect, courteousness, hospitality, they offering you some food, telling you make yourself at home, they're going out of their way to make you feel welcome. Yet your ass is going out of your way to show them that you don't want to be there. Bitch, keep your fucking ass at home. Please. Thank you. You know? So that's where the difference comes in. So yeah. If it's all that going on, yeah, you don't want that. So I just feel like it's it's a thing, like I said, it's a thing called poor manners is what it is. That's what it boils down to. And I am at a point in my life where I'm not excusing nobody's poor manners, bad behaviors, and shit like that. Because if it were me, people not going to excuse mine. But I try not to really present myself like that because the thing about me is I really do care about how I'm coming across to people. Now don't get me wrong. Sometimes you may be a certain way and not really recognize it. I know, like when I was younger, when I'm talking about much younger, I'm talking about in my early 20s. Okay. I had this thing about work environments where I remember I was working at the hospital. I was new to the hospital. And in my mind, I was more so like, oh, I am going to steer clear of any drama. I don't want to get involved with anyone. I am going to stay to myself. This was my mindset. And excuse me, because that was my mindset, that was how I navigated the room. So when I would walk into a room, I wouldn't even speak to people. Now, this wasn't because I wanted to be rude, but it was a part of me that was still kind of ignorant to the fact. And there was a part of me that still kind of had a lack of self awareness. Now, again, I was a younger girl. I was like in my early 20s. Now, I'm not making that no excuse. I'm just saying that at that point, I still had certain behaviors in me that I needed to grow away from. And so in my mind, I wasn't trying to be a rude bitch, but I didn't understand that, yeah, when you walk into a room, and my mother always taught me that when you walk into a room, you speak to people. When you walking past people, you say, excuse me. I was taught those manners, but I got so caught up in my own philosophy or my own thing of I was so adamant about not wanting to really have relationships with people at work, and I wanted to stay to myself so bad to where the manners that I was taught, it kind of just went out the window for me. And again, it wasn't because I was trying to be a mean person, but it was just, but I didn't realize until I was actually leaving the hospital when I was actually moving up here to Columbus, actually. And there was this man that I worked with, 'cause mind you, I stayed in that department for about what, 4 years or something like that. And he said, you know what? I hate to see you go. He said, Marcy, I hate to see you go. He said, because I really like you. He said, I'm not going to lie. When you first started, I didn't like you. Huh. He said, I didn't like you. He said, because you would walk into the room, you wouldn't speak to nobody. And something like that, I didn't realize how that was coming across to people. I didn't know. I didn't think about it. I was just concerned about what I wasn't trying to do, you know? So I was glad he told me that. I mean, I didn't know if that was a backhanded compliment or what, but I was just like, damn. Well, I'm glad that, I'm glad your mind changed over time. But I'm saying that to say that I think that sometimes when you are a person who's not into people, you want to focus on just being to yourself. It's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes it's not even about a person being an introvert. Sometimes it's due to hurt from other relationships. Like you could have once been the type of person who had friends and dealt with people and blah blah blah, and then you could have got hurt by people. Like you could have, had some falling outs with people and things like that, which brought you to a place of, I'm saying to myself, I'm just saying to myself, I don't fuck with nobody. And that's cool. But whatever the case, we must not forget our manners, is my whole point. That's my whole point. And again, I don't care to make excuses for people like that. I just don't. I am in a place where I feel like if that is where you are, if you are truly just so disconnected from the idea of engaging with people, when you go to a function, you don't care whose function it is. You don't care if you don't care. You really don't care to deal with nobody like that. You don't want to talk to nobody. You just want to stay to yourself. Yeah, I will not even be I wouldn't even try to be I wouldn't even try to conversate with you. And there's people like that who they don't give a fuck if you don't try to talk to them or not. They don't care. They don't care if you be rude to them because they're giving off rudeness anyway. So they really don't even care that. But again, like I said, it is important to understand if you feel like that, don't go. Don't go because you want to be nosy, or don't go just because you just what are you coming for? Or you want to sit there and be all in your phone just to avoid, engaging with people. Please don't come. Don't come. Because believe it or not, you do make people uncomfortable. So don't confuse being antisocial with having boundaries. You see? And that's kind of like I said, what I was doing back in the day when I didn't know any better. So I'm just going to leave y'all with this because that's really most of what I had to say about the topic. Okay. I'm going to leave y'all with this question. And I want y'all to respond like y'all always do. Have we become so committed to protecting our comfort that we've forgotten simple courtesy? Y'all, till next time, take care, and I will catch y'all in the next episode. All right, peace. All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on social media. All right, take care.